Hello friends and welcome to our next class for Standard 8. And in today's class we are going to see what happened to Velasco. In the last class we have seen that Velasco was thrown out of his ship and he fell into the ocean. Very luckily for him, he got a raft and he was sitting there in the raft and trying very hard to help his friends. All the other shipmates, including his four friends, Carabello, Castillo, Rengifo, and Ramon Herrera, were there in different parts of the ocean. And he wants to save the life of his friends, but he was in a total confusion as to whom to help first. So he was going to one direction, then again he is coming back to the earlier place and going to the other man, but found that the fate was against him. Because the wind was blowing in the opposite direction and he was not able to move his raft. His raft was so heavy because the wind is flowing in the opposite direction. So he had to row against the wind. That made the rowing very difficult. And so he was not able to help any of his friends. He was very confident about helping his friend Ramon Herrera, but then bad luck would have it, he was not able to help any of his friends. All his friends died in front of him, helplessly. He was feeling very sad because all his friends died just in front of him and he was not able to help them. He tried his maximum, he tried his level best to help his friends. He tried to help Carabello and Castillo. He tried to help Ramon Herrera. He tried to help Rengifo, but all failed and he could not help any of his friends. And so he was so disappointed that he could not help any of his friends. Now let's continue. Paragraph 11. I don't know how long I stayed like that, balancing in the raft, holding out the oar. I kept searching the water, hoping that someone would surface soon. But the sea was clear and the wind, getting stronger, blew against my shirt like the howl of a dog. The cargo had disappeared. The mast, growing more distinct, proved that the small ship hadn't sunk as I had first thought. I felt calm. I thought that one of my mates had managed to reach the other life raft. All his friends disappeared just in front of him and he was not able to help any of his friends. But still he was very hopeful that at least some of them may have escaped because there were many rafts attached to the ship. These rafts can be used at the time of emergency. If something happens to the ship, they can use the rafts. There were many rafts attached to the ship and also there were some boats and also whalers. Whalers are small boats for hunting whales. So he was very hopeful that some of his friends may have reached to any of these rafts. There were so many rafts and his friends may have reached any of these rafts and saved themselves. And also he was able to see the mast of the ship very clearly just under the water. So he was very hopeful that someone will come, someone will surface very fast. Now we'll go to paragraph 12. There was no reason they shouldn't have reached it. The rafts weren't provisioned. In fact, none of the life rafts of a small ship was outfitted. But there were 6 of them. Apart from rowboats and whalers, it was reasonable to believe that some of my mates had reached the other life rafts as I had reached mine, and perhaps the destroyer was searching for us. So he was very hopeful that there were many life rafts, whalers and rowing boats attached to that ship. So there is a possibility, there is a chance that Many of the shipmates may have got this raft. At least some of them may have escaped from this tragedy. He hopes that, just like him, some of his friends may have also got some rafts or rowing boats or whalers. And perhaps the destroyer was searching for them. Destroyer is the name of another ship, and they hope that maybe that ship is searching for them and will come and save them. Very soon I was aware of the sun, a midday sun, hot and metallic, stupefied, not fully recovered. I looked at my watch, it was noon on the dot. Now he failed in trying to help his friends, and now he is waiting for someone to come that way and save him. But the problem here is that he is there in the middle of the ocean, and he is just under the sun, and it was so hot. The time is noon and it was so hot. The sun was shining bright and he was just under the sunlight. It was too hot to stand there. He felt like his body was burning from the sunlight. And the time was also very important. It is the noon time when the sun rays are stronger. So he was standing there facing the sunlight. He felt like the sunlight is burning his body. Paragraph 13. The last time Rengifo had asked me the time on the small ship, it was 11:30. I had checked the time again and the disaster had not yet occurred. When I looked at my watch on the life raft, it was exactly noon. It had taken only 10 minutes for everything to happen. For me to reach the life raft and try to rescue my shipmates and stand motionless in the raft, searching the empty sea, listening to the sharp howl of the wind. I thought it would take them at least 2 or 3 hours to rescue me. So here you have to remember that all these things happen within 10 minutes, because Velasco remembers the last time when his friend Rengifo asked the time, it was 11:30. And after that he checked his time, and at that time this disaster had not occurred. It was before this disaster. So now the time is 12 o'clock. So that means within 10 minutes all these things happened. That the ship was wrecked and his friends were thrown into different parts of the ocean. All of them are trying to stay afloat and he is trying to help them. All these things happen within just a time span of 10 minutes. And now the time is 12 o'clock, sharp 12 o'clock. Okay, now paragraph number 14. 2 or 3 hours I calculated. It seemed an extraordinarily long time to be alone at sea, but I tried to resign myself to it. I had no food or water, and by 3 in the afternoon I would surely have a searing thirst. The sun burnt my head and my skin, which was dry and hardened by salt. Since I had lost my cap, I splashed water on my head and I just sat on the side of the raft waiting to be rescued. He hopes that someone will come to save him, but he has to wait 2 or 3 hours before someone comes for his rescue. So what will he do during this time? It is not so pleasant to sit there in the midday sunlight because it is so hot and there is no food or water. Velasco is really trapped here in his raft. He is in the burning sunlight and also he did not have any food or water. He is so thirsty and the salt water cannot be used. He is waiting for someone to come and save him, and he expected that it would take at least 2-3 hours, and every moment, every second is like 1 hour for him when he is there alone in the middle of the ocean. He had lost his cap and his head was not covered. So he took some water and applied the water on his head to keep himself away from the heat of the sun. It was only then that I felt the pain in my right knee. The thick blue drill fabric of my trouser leg was wet, so I had a hard time rolling it up. But when I did, I was startled. I saw a deep half-moon shaped wound on the lower part of my knee. I didn't know if I had gassed it on the side of the ship or if it had happened when I hit the water, for I didn't notice it until I was seated in the life raft. Though the wound burned a little, it had stopped bleeding and was completely dry because of salt water, I imagine. Here we can see that now Velasco is sitting there in his raft, and he felt a pain on his knee. So far, he did not notice this pain because he was very busy trying to help his friends and he was so tensed. Now he is somewhat relaxed, and when he is sitting there, he felt a pain on his knees. So, in order to see what is that, he just rolled his trousers and just checked what was there, and he found that there was a wound in the shape of the half moon, and it was not bleeding. And why was it not bleeding? Because of the effect of the salt water in the ocean. The wound was not bleeding because of the effect of the salt. Uncertain as to what to do, I decided to make an inventory of my belongings. I wanted to figure out what I could count on in my solitude at sea. First of all, I could rely on my watch, which kept perfect time and which I couldn't stop glancing at every 2 or 3 minutes. In addition, I had my gold ring, which I had bought in Cartagena the year before, and a chain with a medal of the Virgin of Carmen on it, also purchased in Cartagena from another sailor for 30 pesos. In my pockets, I had nothing but the keys to my locker on the small ship and 3 business cards I had been given at a store in Mobile one day in January when I had gone out shopping. Since I had nothing to do, I read the card over and over to distract myself until I was rescued. So here, Velasco wants to stay there in the middle of the ocean, and every moment, every second is like an hour for him. So it is so tiring that he was really suffering from solitude. There is nobody to talk to, there is no water, no food. He was all alone, and every second is like 1 hour for him. So he was looking at the things that he has got with him. He has got a watch, and he was glancing at his watch every 2 minutes because he hopes that at least he has to wait 2-3 hours till someone comes that way and saves him. So he has to wait a long time, and waiting is the most boring thing in anybody's life. We don't want to wait. Waiting is the most painful thing for a person. So here he was forced to wait till someone comes that way. And how to while away the time? How can he adjust the time? What can he do in this time so that he will not feel the passage of time? Because every second is like an hour for him. So he decided to do something till someone comes that way and saves him. So what he can do is to make an inventory of all his possessions. And he has got a ring with him, a watch, and a chain with the medal of Virgin Mary. And he just looking at all these things, all his possessions, just for a time pass, just to make his waiting time not boring. So he was looking at his ring, his chain, and he has got some other things with him. Some business cards were there. He was looking at and reading what is there in the business card. looking at his ring and looking at the carving of Virgin Mary on his chain, and just looking at all these things, taking his business cards, reading what is written there. Why is he doing all these things? Because to get rid of the boredom of waiting, because this waiting is so painful. He knows that he has to wait many hours and till someone comes that way. So, in order to get rid of the boredom of waiting, he was just looking at the things that he has got with him, like his ring, then the chain, business cards, etc., etc. And he was looking at these things to while away the time. And we know that the story not ends here, but this is where our paragraph ends and our lesson. And we know that he has to wait more than 2-3 hours until he was rescued by some other people. So I hope that all of you have enjoyed this story, and I'll be giving you some questions and answers in the coming classes. So thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, please post those comments just under the comment section of this video, and we'll be giving you more classes. So stay tuned, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, and thanks for watching.